his lives, who he's been banging on about now for weeks about how moved he was, how without them pumping oxygen, Jenny and Lewis from New Zealand and Portugal.
Piers Morgan has slammed Boris Johnson for charging hundreds of pounds a year for the migrant NHS staff to use the health service itself. Mr. Johnson rejected calls to scrap the immigrant health surcharge, which forces migrants from outside the European Economic Area to pay Ps 400 to use the NHS, although working migrants are already contributing to NHS funding by paying income tax and national insurance cover. Even foreign-born workers who work for the NHS, including London NHS staff who saved Mr. Johnson's life, have to pay the annual charge, although those whose visas expire this year will automatically get a one-year renewal without having to pay the charge for 12 months, as an emergency measure to retain staff during the coronavirus crisis. The charge, first introduced in 2015 at Ps 200 a year, is set to jump from Ps 400 a year to Ps 624 in October. EU-born staff exempt for now, although they may have to start paying the annual fee once the Brexit transition period is over on December 31, 2020. Effectively, the NHS forces migrants to pay twice for healthcare, as their income is taxed in the same way a UK citizen's is. Speaking on Good Morning Britain, Morgan branded the Prime Minister as disgusting for his commitment to keeping and raising the surcharge, just weeks after the leader's own life was saved by the NHS. He's basically been telling the people who saved his life, who he's been banging on for weeks about how moved he was, how without them pumping oxygen, Jenny and Lewis, from New Zealand and Portugal, he wouldn't be here today. How is he rewarding Jenny and Lewis? He's actually slapping them in the face. And tonight when he goes out to clap outside his no tent-door clapping for the health workers and the care workers, what's he going to say to Jenny and Lewis? Morgan added, he wants their money, even though he himself got free treatment that saved his life from the health system. I think it's totally disgusting, honestly. Morgan also pointed out that many migrant NHS workers have paid the ultimate price for their bravery and dedication during the pandemic. Calling for the charge to be scrapped, he said, 181 NHS workers have lost their lives, the majority of whom are migrant workers, who've come from countries all over the world, and yet here we are telling the ones who are still going in on the front line, you know what, when this is all over, we're going to sting you, for money. And Boris Johnson said yesterday, yeah, I know my life was saved by these people, but we need the money, it's right. Former Tory MP and Brexit Party MEP Anne Widdecombe defended the government, saying the Ps 900 and the NHS raises every year is ring-fenced for the NHS, while the charge is being kept under review. The government has announced frontline workers whose visas are due to expire will be granted one-year extensions and will be exempt from the charge for 1 year. Labour leader Keir Starmer urged the Prime Minister to rethink the NHS charge altogether. At Prime Minister's questions, Mr. Starmer said, every Thursday we go out and clap for our carers. Many of them are risking their lives for the sake of all of us. Does the Prime Minister think it's right that care workers coming from abroad and working on our front line should have to pay a surcharge of hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds to use the NHS themselves? Mr. Johnson replied, I've thought a great deal about this, and I do understand and I do accept the difficulties faced by our amazing NHS staff. And like him, I've been the personal beneficiary of carers who've come from abroad and frankly, saved my life. So I know exactly the importance of what he says. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe our channel to receive the latest news.